Hello, my name is Devin and I am the guitar instructor here at Map Family Learning Center. We are going to have group guitar classes for ages 5 through 6 in about a month, starting on Saturday, February 28th, 10 a.m. in the mornings. I'm going to just talk a little bit about these classes and how they work because a lot of parents ask me questions like, can you teach a kid 5 or 6 years old how to play the guitar? And then they're curious, how we do that here. So I've taught kids as young as 5 years old for about 20 years now. And I'll give you some insight into how I do it. So with these group guitar classes, I split my time up. So there's about an hour, and the first 20 minutes to half an hour sometimes, I spend doing music games, which the goal is to help kids with music literacy. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like in some of the weeks. So I have these props here. They're just plastic cups. They have different words on them. Zoo, monkey, zoo, monkey. So the kids can read that, or they'll kind of learn how to read that if they don't know. So that's actually kind of a benefit in the class. We talk a little bit about syllables, how many syllables are in your name, how many syllables are in the word zoo, how many syllables are in the word monkey. And the kids make different patterns out of them. And then the group of kids will perform it. So you'll have something like zoo, monkey, zoo, zoo, and they repeat that. Zoo, monkey, zoo, zoo. And so as they're doing that, they're, learning a little bit more about rhythm, getting a sense for how to read rhythms, feel rhythms, really making the second syllable in the word monkey, subdivide that beat into two equal halves, for example. Of course, I don't talk like that, but that's, during that class, but that's what I'm doing. And then, in a future week, not in the same day, but in a future week, we'll, turn the cups around, and then the kids will see the musical symbols. And so this will familiarize themselves with, standard, Western notation. And, then they can start to associate, zoo with a quarter note, this symbol here, and monkey with two halves, or sorry, two eighth notes. Just misspoke for a second there. So monkey. So they'll see this and then, they'll think monkey. They'll see this, they'll think zoo, and they'll just kind of get used to that. We'll break it apart, talk about, what they look like, and how that relates to their meaning. And then, so that's the first 20, 30 minutes. And I've got, other tricks up my sleeve for that time as well. In the second half of the class, we start to work, on the guitar. So we talk about, how to sit with the guitar. I have them sit with the guitar. And each week we do something musical that, reinforces a particular concept on the guitar. So I wrote this book in looks like 2014, and we use this book for these really young kids. So this is, pre-reading, and the kids who take the class, get a copy of this. And so, the first week they will, learn how to pluck a string. So I've got this song called Pluck on an E string. So they're focused on just plucking the first week, and I'll play something together with that so that they can kind of understand what they're doing in a musical context. Meanwhile, they're just playing that, focused on that, focusing on their hand position, focused on the, keeping and maintaining the beat. The second week, we start, adding another finger and then alternating. And then they'll do something right out of the Suzuki book. It's the Mississippi hot dog rhythm. I call it I am pepperoni pizza. So the kids, gradually, build, skills each week. And that makes, teaching kids at that age achievable. And it's gratifying because, in the, I'll skip what we do in the next week. We start at the left hand. But once they get the left hand in there, then they can start playing some melodies. And so I wrote a piece for kids called My First Rock Song. So it's all on one string, which is really important. They start to understand, that, the lower notes are down here at the lower frets, with 0 or an open string being the lowest, and then as you go up, you get higher and higher pitches, all on one string, and they can just focus on one string. Ignore all the other strings. We just work on this one string. So they'll play this melody. While I play the accompaniment. So you get a backbeat. So they can hear all that. As they're playing their melody and getting used to putting their fingers down in the left hand, coordinating their left and their right hands, listening, and just this understanding of, the lower pitches are down here, the higher pitches are up here on the guitar. And then we learn, one more song on the same string, on the B string. And that's generally how the first, 6 weeks go. If the kids need a little bit of review, they can have that review. This particular upcoming class is 8 weeks, so they'll have plenty of time for review. If they're doing really, really great, then we can start, doing some more advanced things. I kind of read, where everybody's at and, make some adjustments. But definitely 6 to 8 weeks, they'll be able to do, for example, My First Rock Song. And then I've got another song after that. So I hope this was insightful. I also want to say that part of what makes these classes possible is that we have, you can see them behind me, guitars for all of the kids. These are kids' guitars. So this is a half-size guitar. So they're made for a kid's body and hands. And the fact that we provide them for the time that they're in the class means that I can tune all the instruments before class, which means that there is 0 time wasted, tuning guitars before class. I've taught classes where kids bring in their own guitars, And sometimes that can take 10 to 15 minutes of class time just tuning everyone's guitar. I have to find out, different things about the different kinds of guitars that are coming in. Some are steel string, some are nylon, some have the neck bent a little bit, so the intonation is off. Having all these guitars here means that all the kids have like a very consistent experience. Also, the parents, uh, are invited to stay in the class with their kids. That's why we call it family guitar. And the parents get to learn as well. So when you go home, you'll understand what your kids have done. In fact, I have an adult student who said that she was surprised when she was in one of these classes. I handed her the guitar and had her play the same music that I was teaching her son. And she's now taking private lessons with me, which doesn't happen for everybody, but that was really fun. That's really gratifying. Um, so I guess to summarize, uh, you know, what makes this work is breaking up the class into two parts: doing guitar, doing general music. The kids also do a little bit of performance. Um, uh, the Having the parents there, having the guitars available, um, and I hope that you're able to join these classes. Again, they start in about a month on February 28th, and we do them on a regular basis. So I hope you can take advantage of these classes. Okay, thank you.